Welcome to my review of the pilot episode of The Flash. The Flash is a new TV series on the CW that is based on the popular DC character named The Flash. And this TV series follows the character of Barry Allen, who is the man that ends up becoming the Flash. Now, he isn't the original Flash. He's the Silver Age Flash, not the Gold Age Flash, which is the original Flash. This is the second Flash that most people are most familiar with. And the pilot episode off the bat tells you the story of Barry Allen's character, his backstory, him as a child. It starts off there, and then it progresses from him as a child to him as now an adult, and the development of how he becomes the Flash. I was one of those people that really didn't want this TV series to happen, not because I'm against the Flash, it's because personally I would have preferred to see the Flash on the silver screen. I want to see him on the silver screen, and I felt like them making a TV series was kind of one of those setbacks to us finally seeing him on the silver screen, because we already seen him on television back in the 90s with John Wesley Shipp with the Flash TV series that I think only lasted for like 2 seasons and that's it, or was it 1 season? I don't remember, but I remember watching it as a kid, enjoying it back then. And so the idea of a Flash TV series again is kind of one of those things like, we already saw that, let's move on to the silver screen. At least that was my mentality of this TV series when it was announced. And now after watching the pilot, I have to say I still have that same mentality, but I have to say what I saw in the pilot really surprised me. I was very impressed with what I saw and how much I really enjoyed what I was seeing from this pilot. First off, I have to say Grant Gustin as Barry Allen was excellent casting. Off the bat, you just fall in love with him in a way because he's just a very likable person and character, and he plays Barry Allen in such a way that you can't help but like him. I also liked all the other supporting characters, definitely characters that I could find myself really enjoying as much as enjoying Barry Allen's character. And there were certain other things like Easter eggs that if you are a fan of The Flash, or if you're a fan of DC Comics in general, there's going to be certain things in there that you're going to see and you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's pretty awesome, and you get a smile on your face. And it's definitely one of those things that's just pandering to the fans, and I love that. The other thing that I really liked about this episode is the tone to it. I was kind of afraid that they were going to do the whole dark and gritty thing like they did with Arrow, and I felt like they were going to transition that same tone into this TV series, but they didn't. It's very light, it has humor in it. The overall like ambiance of Central City feels like something of a comic book. It's very bright and colorful, and it had a very like Sam Raimi Spider-Man type of feel to it, which if you don't know, I love those movies, at least the first 2. So having that feel to it just made me really happy. Like, yes, this feels like a comic book TV series. It's not trying to do the whole Batman thing. It's very bright and colorful, and it has that upbeat feeling to it. And there was just some element throughout the episode that reminded me of Smallville, like the pilot episode of Smallville. And I know that David Nutter directed this, and he directed the pilot episode of Smallville as well. And I had that feel to it, and it just brought a lot of like great feelings back to me because I loved Smallville back in the day. So having that feel to this pilot episode was something that I really, really liked. As for the other thing I liked the fact that they made the Reverse Flash be like the main villain of the overall story arc for possibly the series or this season, going from the very beginning. This is something you see in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. You see Reverse Flash appearing in Barry Allen's house when he's a kid. And this is something that I feel like is going to play on throughout the whole season or the series itself. I'm personally going to really, really enjoy just the idea of him discovering who the Reverse Flash is, and either having a moment where they fight each other or something like that, because just thinking about how that scene's going to play out is pretty awesome. Now, there's not that much negative stuff in the pilot episode that I can really bring up, but there is certain things that I do want to mention. I have to mention the Barry and Iris relationship. I like the friendship that they have, but I don't like that they're most likely going to CW the relationship and, you know, throw a love triangle in there, which I absolutely despise. I hate love triangles on TV series. They just they irk me so much, and that is like such a CW trademark for them to do that. And I can just see from the pilot episode they're definitely going to do a love triangle thing, and I really don't want to see it. And I know what happens with Barry and Iris in the future, though I have to say I felt that Barry Allen and Caitlin Snow, Dr. Snow, had a lot of chemistry. Like, there was like this hint that they're possibly going to go there with those two characters. At least that's what I saw. And I know who Caitlin Snow ends up becoming. You don't have to remind me, but I still got that hint that something was going to go on with those two in the future. And I felt myself being not totally against it. I felt like the two actors had a lot of chemistry on screen together that I was kind of like, I actually like the idea of those two together. More so than Iris and Barry. So I'm a little torn and confused by that, and maybe later on in the season or in the series I might change my mind on it, but going off of the pilot episode, I was really liking the idea of those two. And the last negative thing I have to talk about, which I've talked about in previous videos, and that is the suit. I personally do not like the suit. There's some elements of it that look really nice. I think the mask looks really good, but everything else just doesn't look good to me. Though, there is a particular scene in the episode that gave you the impression that this is not going to be his final suit. So overall, I really enjoyed this pilot. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, but the fact that they threw all those Easter eggs in there, the fact that Grant Gustin is as likable as he is, the fact that it reminded me of Smallville and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, just are little elements here and there that just made me really happy with the overall outcome of this pilot episode. I would definitely recommend this series to anybody who's a fan of The Flash, you're a fan of DC Comics, you're a fan of comic books, or you're just a fan of fun television. Check the pilot episode of The Flash out. I don't think you'll be disappointed with it. So that is my review of The Flash. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Gone Girl is directed by David Fincher. It stars Ben Affleck, Rosamund Pike, and a bunch of other very talented actors and actresses. Now the premise of this story follows Ben Affleck's character named Nick. Something happens to his wife Amy, who is played by Rosamund Pike, and then the big American media fiasco happens where the media runs with a story and it becomes something of more of entertainment type of form of broadcasting than rather putting out